got some wonderful presentations. And our next presenter is slightly famous. He probably won't thank me for saying this, but he is slightly famous. He has been on Radio 4. So, now you probably won't recognise him visually, but you might recognise his voice. And it was on the Material World programme, about where the listeners came up with a scientific experiment. And anyway, I won't preempt it because it might be what his presentation is about. And he hasn't done a BettaKultcha event before, but he has been on Radio 4, so he's come down a bit. But still, we're going to welcome him onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big welcome for Mr. William Rudling.
Yes, how many people have sort of said hello to people who they think they knew? Even the voice sounds the same, but I've done it, I feel like a twit sometimes. Got a legitimate reason why I can do it now. Dame Judi Dench was somebody who I thought sounded very much like Samantha Bond. They even look alike, they sound alike. And that's what I really am about. It's trying to find the voice and the face that match. And it happens a lot, well, for me. It's not a case of, well, they've gone to RADA and so on. It's not that. She comes from Yorkshire, and where Samantha Bond, I'm not sure, but... And then there's somebody else here, Martin Brundle, sports commentator. He's very similar. A friend of mine suggested, she said, Martin Brundle, and it's so uncanny that his voice is similar to his. You know who he is. It's not a case of actually what they're like or what they sound. I'm looking for the cadence and the pitch of voice, not so much the dialect. People keep saying to me, oh, it's the dialect. It isn't. You've got to go slightly beyond all that. And really, it's something that's... Well, dialects are sort of a social interaction. You acquire that skill. And I think, personally, there's something in what you're seeing now. Not only can you see him a lot, you know his voice, and actually, at this stage, you're probably wondering why you're not hearing any voices. I can't afford the fees that the agents will probably level at me for a public broadcast. So I'm afraid you'll have to imagine the rest. Lloyd Krebs is similar to Mervyn King, I think, and a similar fate. Look at the two. All right, one's a bit heavier than the other, but I think there's something there for me. So it really is where the pitch of voice resides. In here, I feel the diagram might show you what I'm trying to go for. The girl, the length of her neck might be an influence on how she speaks. The length of the larynx. Also, perhaps the roof of the mouth might be deeper. A friend of mine said that his dentist feels that the roof of his mouth is very unusual. And he has a very deep voice. So, to me, it's the skull and so on. Look at this. She's a business fixer. Okay? Square jaw, quite broad face. She's very similar to the next one coming up. Anne Chancellor. They're very similar. They could be sisters, but they're not. So as far as I'm concerned, that is quite essential for me to sort of see this story. I feel that the skull and the shape of the jaw is very similar to, it's like a musical instrument. Shape of a guitar, for instance. It's a good analogy for me. There is something here that I need to sort of look for. Yes, well, you know, you've seen him before, Mr. Selfridge, Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah, two different generations. But the jawline is very similar. I think the upper lip is. This chap, Eric Idle, well, you know who he is. Again, a friend of mine suggested this person as a good match for Steve Punt. They are very similar. If you can imagine their voices and their faces, to me, that was a really good match, that somebody's volunteered for me. And, I mean, where do I really go from here? I just feel that somehow I need to go into a program of face recognition. And if I can get that and look for where that picture voice might reside, because I think you are born with it, I feel we're going to get somewhere. And if you feel that somehow you can help me with this, you can contact me on email, you can contact me. I have got Twitter, I'm still very wary of it. But I was in a post office queue today, quite enjoyed it. But I heard a young woman talking behind me. I didn't see her, but I knew that she was very similar to somebody I saw on TV. And I looked, she had a small mouth, a wideish jaw, and they were very similar. Thank you very much.
William Rudling, ladies and gentlemen.